I'm going to show you how to make a paired dot plot in this video. So typically you would do that for a dependent samples t-test. You can also do it for repeated measures ANOVA or other tests where you're trying to show a trend over time for your participants. And so what this does that's different from a bar graph is that it shows the pairs of scores. So it would show the before and after score for each person. And so that can sometimes be a little bit better to understand the test than looking at a bar graph. A bar graph is fine. There's nothing, wrong with it, but this might be a better option for a dependent samples t-test. So I have this self-efficacy example and in the slides that we're working with for class. And so we're looking at this, and I'll put a title here. So we're going to say figure one, and it should be double spaced um, when you put this into your document. So I'm just going to make this the same setup that it would kind of look like in a document there. But we have these self-efficacy scale scores before and after. So we have this pre-program and post-program scores. Just say before and after to be consistent with my title that I came up with. So we're looking at these before and after scores for a youth workforce program. And you can see that I have this column here that just has generic participant numbers. This is the way that it needs to be set up for you to go ahead and make this graph in Sheets. So I'm going to highlight this right here, and I'm going to go to Insert, Chart. It's going to give me the wrong graph probably. Yep. So I need to change it from a column chart to this line chart. And this is not how I want it set up. So the way that has this set up right now is that participant is across the x-axis, and then I have scores on the y-axis, and it just looks crazy. We need to switch rows and columns right there. And so now we just need to make this APA style and clean some things up. So I'm going to move over into this customize section of the chart editor. And I'm going to click where I want to make changes. So I'm just going to click on this title for APA style. We do not want the title inside the graph. I do not want this legend here with the different participant IDs because that's not typically not going to be important. You might have something where it might make sense to do that. I'm going to delete this participant because that just matches with the legend. That actually doesn't give us any information. So we just want this before and after. And then we need to add some information and fix our formatting. We're missing, I always like to do the axes first. So we're missing our y-axis title here. So I'm going to click under chart and axis titles. So you can open that up and go to vertical axis title. And I'm going to call this self-efficacy score. And there it is. And then the next thing I like to fix is getting rid of these grid lines. So for APA style, you shouldn't have any grid lines inside your graph. I clicked on it, highlighted them automatically. And so I just need to unclick major grid lines. And I want instead major ticks. And then I want to do the same thing for my horizontal axis. So I'm going to go to horizontal axis right there. I just need to click major ticks. So that's better. Next, I do not like this weird color mishmash that's happening here. It's pretty, but it's not APA. And you don't need different colors for each participant. It's just really not relevant. So what you do is you click on one of them. Unlike other graph types in Sheets, when you click on one, it only highlights one. Whereas if it's a bar graph, it's going to highlight all the bars. So you need to go to Series and change Apply to All right there. And then I want to make it black. So I'm going to say line color is black. And I'm going to make the point size. I want there to be little circles on the end to show that they're points of measurement, that they're not ongoing, that they don't just keep going in either direction. So I'm going to add a 7.1. The 2 is a little small here, and so that's why I'm using 7. You can change the shape if you want to. I just want to use a basic circle here, but there are other options. And then one other thing I want to do, you don't have to do this, but if you wanted to highlight that there are a few people who did not have an improved score, You could always highlight those individuals. So I just clicked on this one that's going down. So this person's after score is lower on self-efficacy than their before score. I might go to line color and red. This one also decreased a little bit, line color, oops, and red. And then that's pretty much it. You could also change the font, so it should match whatever your font is in your document. So I'll go ahead and make it match just for making this look like an APA style paper setup. So here we have figure one, self-efficacy. You're typically going to do Times New Roman. So I'm going to say Times New Roman here. And you can see I have figure one in bold, and then I have this self-efficacy scales title in italics. And this is just designating, showing you that there should be a double space there. So now what I want to do is I want my fonts to match that. So I can just double click here to bring back our chart editor. The easiest way is just to go to your chart style at the top of your editor under customize and change the font to serif. And that's going to make it, you can see it changed to basically Times New Roman. I might also make it a little bigger. So I'm going to make this a larger font so it's easier to read. It's going to depend on what you're copying it into, but I'm going to put this into our PowerPoint slides. So there we go, or our slide deck if I were young and cool. So that is it. And then you can copy and paste this. So you can either click on these little dots here and say copy chart. You could also download your chart as a PNG. You can also just do a command paste or control paste or control copy and then paste it into your document. I usually recommend that when you paste it into a Google Doc that you copy it in as a linked document or a linked graph. That way, if you make edits to your graph later, you can always update them in Docs without recopying it. So that's it for the dependent samples t-test graph. Again, you can make a bar graph if you feel like that works better for what you're doing, but this is an option that allows you to see what the individuals were doing and kind of see that trend. So again, you can see that people started with lower scores generally and had some kind of increase at the end of the program.